What's going on, Fantasy Football Universe? This is SC Romero at the PPR Show on X, here to bring you another Devy Diamond. And today we're talking about a quarterback that is in the university that is no stranger to the national championship. And that's going to be Georgia's quarterback, Carson Beck. Let's dive into him and why you should have him on your radars in this episode of the Devy Diamonds right after this. What's going on again, Fantasy Football Universe? Again, I am SC Romero at the PPR Show on X. But let's talk about Georgia's quarterback, Carson Beck. Now, he was a four-star prospect coming out of Mandarin High School. Looked good, Unfortunately, he went to Georgia where he had to sit behind other quarterbacks in his first two seasons. He sat behind Stetson Bennett. Only saw 7 games total or action in 7 games the first 2 seasons of his career. But last year, he came on the scene and he really did not disappoint. He threw for just under 4,000 yards, had 72.4% completion. Everything looked good. Unfortunately, they were a little short when it came to that national championship, but the Georgia offense actually got weapons to benefit him. And that's why I think in 2024, we could see a new look Georgia offense. Now, they're normally used or seen as a running team. They produce great running backs, and I think they're going to produce another great running back this season, but they got weapons for Carson Beck. They brought in the tight end and Benjamin Yurosek from Stanford, a tight end that knows how to pass or catch the ball, pass catch. Also knows how to do some good blocking, so they can use him all around. They brought in a field stretcher and a contested catch red zone threat in Colby Young from Miami. A wide receiver that can be a reliable target to Carson Beck when he just needs to throw it up in the air. Guess what? This guy's 6'5". He's a monster. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for opposing DBs. Plus, they brought in a pass-catching running back in Trevor Etienne. Yes, brother to Travis Etienne, who's now on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They brought in this pass-catching running back that is going to benefit because Benson really thrives in those short and intermediate throws. And Trevor Etienne, is a great back to do that. He knows how to get yards after the catch. He can definitely catch out the backfield and just make the plays happen. Really going to alleviate some of that pressure off of Carson Beck. Not to mention, this could be a breakout year for wide receiver Dominic Levet. He had a great year in 2022 at Missouri where he had over 800 yards. This past season, not so much. He kind of got down on the pecking order when you think of Ladd McConkey, then Brock Bowers, things like that. So this could be a year that, Dominic Levet actually becomes that wide receiver 1 for Carson Beck. But definitely, I love the weapons they have around Georgia, and I think they know Carson Beck is their guy, regardless of who's committed there and all that good stuff. Carson Beck is their guy for this 2024 season. He has shown he can lead the team. He has shown confidence in the pocket. And that's something that is big when I look at quarterbacks. What are they doing when that pocket is collapsing? And guess what? Carson Beck is standing tall. He's standing strong. He's scanning the field, and he's getting the ball down the field. And that's something you love to see. And again, with these weapons they got around him, it's just going to become easier for him to do that. Honestly, I like this Georgia offense more than I like the one from last year, even though Brock Bowers was a generational talent. I think they just have a bunch of great athletes around him, and it's just going to make the transition to elevate maybe beyond 4,000 yards passing for Carson Beck that much smoother. He has that pocket awareness. He knows how to adjust accordingly when that pocket is collapsing around him. He's poised under pressure, and he knows he has great ball placement. He knows where to place that ball wherever the wide receivers are going to be. Now, here and there, he may struggle a little bit when it comes to those deep throws. He does have good accuracy, but then those deep throws, you can see a little bit of wobble in that pass, not as much as those bullets that he throws when it's a short intermediate pass. So that is something that it is to worry some. But again, when you have a wide receiver like Colby Young, who's 6'5", just towering over some of these DBs in the college football scene, that benefits him. That means, just throw it up. As long as you get the ball in the vicinity of where Colby Young is, chances are he's going to come down with it. Plus, he has a diamond IQ. Devy Diamonds, we're calling it diamond IQ. And that's Carson Beck because he understands the game. Every year, he sat behind some quarterbacks going into Georgia. He's adapted to this offense. He knows how this offense runs. He understands what he needs to do when he is behind the line of scrimmage and how to get the ball out and move the chains. That's something I really love about him and something you don't see a lot in some quarterbacks. That really is. You don't see them how they're adjusting at the line of scrimmage. You don't see what they're doing once that pocket collapses. Are they continuing to scan the field, or are they panicking under pressure and thus throw everything out? No, he has a great IQ. He knows when to expect the pressure, how to see the pressure, how to adjust when the pressure is coming to him, which you love to see. Now, the inexperience, only having one full season, that could hurt, but it was in the SEC, and he threw for, again, just under 4,000 yards, 3,971, 41, excuse me, 3,941 yards. So the inexperience, I get it, but he also did pretty well with his Georgia team last year, so that's not that big a deal. But it is definitely something to consider, considering there's some other quarterbacks now in the SEC that have plethora of years of experience at the starting role as well. Athletic, yeah, he is, as far as like he can move. He's a little bit shifty when it comes to escaping that pressure, but he's not necessarily getting you yards with his feet. He's not that dual threat type caliber player, which is okay. You don't need that in every quarterback. He knows how to get the ball out, which is good. But again, the athleticism, it's not what other quarterbacks in this class are. Let's just say that. At times he does hesitate to make those throws down the field. He may stop a little bit, and it's like, you could have gone out a second earlier. So that is worrisome. But again, maybe it was because he didn't really have those deep threats this past season, where now he kind of has it, or he has a little bit of plethora, especially with Trevor Etienne coming in, being that running back that can run the ball to open up the play action, or just pass out or catch out the backfield, to be that reliable target in the oh shit situations, I guess you could say, for Carson Beck. And then the arm strength, he could make NFL throws. I don't think that's an issue, but it's how accurate can he make them? He could get the ball down the field, but is he throwing on the money every single deep pass? No, he's not. That's just reality of it. But again, he can still make those throws. He knows where it needs to be. It is becoming a little bit more precise when it comes to making those deep ball passes, which I think that's something he's going to work on during this summer. And that's something that we're going to look at going into this next year. Again, with the field stretcher like Kobe Young, I think we're going to see maybe a little bit more deep throws, a little bit more go get it mentality than we did this past season. Now, he's eligible to enter the draft in 2025. I think he's going to be a first round prospect. I think there's two quarterbacks right now that I think will be two quarterbacks in the first round. And Carson Beck has the ability to become the first quarterback off the board. The other one's going to be Texas Quinn Ewers. I just think Carson Beck right now, I actually have Georgia going undefeated. And that is with them going to Alabama, playing at Alabama, with them going to Austin, playing at Texas, and with them going to Ole Miss, playing at Ole Miss. So those three games will be their toughest games, but I have them winning and being undefeated. So because of that, I think that's going to move Carson Beck up. Now, I guess you could say the playoffs, if they have a bad loss, that can definitely move him down. But if he goes undefeated and wins the SEC conference outright, because it's no longer East-West, it's just one full conference, every team's together, is bundled up together, just the SEC. That's going to be huge. If he could go in there and win the SEC, I think that's going to help move his stock up, and he's going to be one of the first quarterbacks off the board. Now, a spot I really love him in is the Las Vegas Raiders. They didn't do much in getting a quarterback this offseason. They brought in Gardner Minshew, which, okay, I mean, he could start. He could get the job done, right? They have Aiden O'Connell. Okay, he could start. He could get the job done, right? But they did those guys, don't get me wrong, they can. I mean, they're in the NFL, so they can. But those guys aren't winning them the Super Bowl. It's just the reality of it. I don't think they are. But Carson Beck, in that offense, if he was in that offense today, I mean, he reunites with Brock Bowers, his college tight end. He reunites with Zamir White, a running back that went to Georgia. He has a deep threat like Kobe Young and Devontae Adams. Kobe Young is not Devontae Adams, but I'm saying that deep threat that could stretch the field, but just be a very good wide receiver as well. And Devontae Adams, I think he could definitely be that quarterback for their future and potentially their franchise guy. I think that's fits everything they want. I expect the Raiders to have a top 5 pick, and really, I think Carson Beck could be that 5th overall, because I think they do, finish 5th or 4th. So I think Carson Beck ends up being one of those first quarterbacks off the board to the Las Vegas Raiders. I just think he fits their system. It's not really something that's a gunslinging system. It's like, let's run the ball down. Let's, short intermediate passes. Let's just get to it. And that's something that's going to be beneficial to him, because that's similar to the offense that they're running here in Georgia right now. Now, as far as his fantasy impact, He's gonna be like a low end QB2, I think. Likely more like that QB3. He's gonna be flirting around with like that QB25, QB20, maybe QB18 on some good years type of area. He might slip into a top 15 quarterback, but that's gonna be very, very difficult for him to do. I just don't see that crucially happening. So I think he's just gonna be someone that can get the ball out quickly. He's not gonna make a lot of turnovers. He's not gonna lose points for you on your fantasy team. He's gonna get 25 to 30 touchdowns maybe in a season, and maybe 7, 6 interceptions, things like that. But again, it's just gonna be all passing. It's not gonna be any running, rushing yards, or rushing touchdowns. So that's where it's gonna hurt him. But he's gonna be someone that can get the ball out and be beneficial to him. If he came out this year, I would have him right now at probably QB3, to be honest. I'd have him behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I just think he is that good. And this year, again, I think he has potential to be QB1 and one of the first quarterbacks off the board. He has that field awareness. He has that football IQ. He has that leadership mentality, everything you want in a franchise quarterback. And I think that's what teams will love about him, especially if he leads the Georgia Bulldogs to an undefeated season. Now, if he loses against Bama, Texas, and Ole Miss, we have a different story. I think that could push him down, and it could be like, wait, hold on, you're not the guy we thought. So that's a whole different story. But right now, I do think they go undefeated, and I think that's the reason why Carson Beck becomes the QB1 of the class as far as NFL's looking at him, because he led a team to a conference championship like that. So I really like what I see in him. I think he could be a beneficial quarterback at the next level, someone that just can win the games for you and doesn't make a lot of turnovers, which is key in the NFL. So I do like him in that aspect. But that's what I think about Carson Beck, Georgia quarterback. Tell me what you think in the comments. This is the Devy Diamonds on the Fantasy Football Universe. I am SC Romero. Go follow me on X at the PPR. So until next time, peace.